Happy Thursday, guys! We are here again, and this is our first YouTube attempt with a podcast. And we are happy to bring Sanjeev back with pros and our nutrition specialist, dietitian, formulator. He's really basically everything.
All nutrition.
Yes. And then we have Nicole. Hello. Here we are. Okay. So I think we'll just get into it. Weight loss, right? No matter what, it all comes down to that. I don't care what anybody says. It comes down to weight loss because you want results. You want to feel good in your clothes. You want to feel good in your body. You want to feel good when you move. And we brought Sanjeev because he is like the Willy Wonka of nutrition and dietitian. And he fascinates me with all the things that he formulates. So I really am excited for you guys and us to learn a lot of the basics on what we can do, simple things to, start our weight loss journey. Because, everything's starting to open up now. We're starting to get to go back to the gyms. We're starting to have our lives back a little bit. So let's do this.
Cool, let's do it. Yeah, thank you. Excited to be here and excited to talk about, like you said, the hottest topic every year, no matter what is going on, weight loss. So.
Yeah. Nobody wants to be fat.
Nobody wants to be fat. No, nobody wants to be fat. Nobody wants to be tired. No one wants to be hungry.
No!
But they also don't want to be overweight either, which is kind of like a issue.
Right. Balance.
Yes.
Okay, so what would you say the basics would be? Like, let's just start off there. What would you say?
Yeah. So weight loss is interesting. Okay, right? So if it was really all that simple, we would be a nation of very, thin individuals with the proper body composition. Okay, right? Mm-hmm. And remember, let's just be careful. There's a conversation of weight loss, meaning being at the right weight.
Right.
And then more importantly, being at the right body composition. Yes. But that's kind of maybe a topic for a little bit, right? And so, why are Americans or all over the world really not able to get into a space in which they are at the right weight? It has a lot to do with accessibility of food. When that's food true. Is so accessible, right? It's all around us.
If we would just eat off of our hand.
Completely. Well, it becomes something of like, and remember, when you have the accessibility of food, okay, right?
Oh, yes, yes.
Right, it's like you can get it anytime, anywhere, like doesn't matter, at any cost as well too, right? And then the second thing is,
so good.
Well, that's the second thing actually.
I love food.
That's the second thing, this is a big thing, okay, right? Is that there's a huge emotional component to eating. Yes, exactly. And it is because food's a drug.
Yeah.
And so I think that's one of the things that individuals must remember, okay, right? Is that what is a drug? A drug is something that you take into your body that can alter your sense or your experience in one way or another. And if you do it repeatedly with great intensity and frequency, it can cause an addiction. Which then also has the reverse of when you take it away, you get these withdrawal symptoms.
Yeah.
And the body begins to now crave and feel that is what it's supposed to have. And so therefore it's going to make you go and search and get it. So now that you understand that food is a drug, now you understand how there is this emotional component, there's an environmental component, there's a physiological component, and when one or more of those things are awry, you don't get the proper balance, and you now get this, sense of I'm overweight, I'm not at the right body composition or whatever. So that's why it's not easy. It's not like, oh, hey man, just watch your calories, just eat this fat, just stay away from these foods, or just work out. And if you just do that, you'll be able to lose weight, because it doesn't work like that.
Right. You have hormones, and you're so lucky you're a guy. You don't have hormones like
right.
you.
Yes.
And then it comes time, and we want to eat all the chocolate in the world because it's so good. Because we're PMSing and all kinds of weird. We're like, just get out of my way. I'll eat it all, and then we're fine again. Yeah. But it's just like a cycle. It is. Yeah. It's and it's easier said than done. So how would you say? Like, I know we have our food log, but what would you say? Like, and in a world of excessiveness, because that's where we're at, right? how would you balance that to somebody? I'm an emotional eater. I love food.
Yeah.
Sanjeev, I love it.
Yes.
All
yes.
of it.
Yes.
So, what would you say to somebody? Like, so, what would you say if somebody walks, I walk in, there's a new restaurant, and I want to try it all out, and thank God I'm gluten-free, so I can't have all of it. But, and then what would you say that, like, a good thing to say to yourself when you're in there so you don't overdo it?
So I think that what I've kind of experienced over, 20 years of working with people, and some of it is, it's interesting because you get these kind of groups that are out there who are, as I've realized recently, it's like either they're super hardcore and they're telling you all of the things that you should do or shouldn't do, and then they make you feel ashamed or inadequate or whatever, for doing those things. And then you have this other group over here who is trying to make you feel good about what you're doing and trying to, help you to understand kind of, that it's okay and it's not your fault and you can have these kind of, cheat days and things like that. I'm a little bit in the middle, right? Because the thing is that both of them aren't good. Because you have to understand is that you're playing with someone's psyche here. Because like you were saying earlier, it all becomes first a mindset. Yes. The food's not the problem, the quantity's not the problem, the accessibility is not the problem. Really, it's a mindset. There's individuals who are PMSing, but they are not eating a bunch of chocolate to make themselves feel better. That exists. There's people out there who are, love food, but they are not overeating. These things actually exist. They happen, okay, right? It is a reality. Yeah. You have to choose yourself where you're at. And what is your mindset? Because, it's like people will always ask me, they'll say, okay, Jeevers, when you're meeting with a client or you're meeting with someone, when do you know that they're going to be successful at whatever they're doing? Well, the answer to that is when I realize that what they're doing is really for them. And that, right? Yeah. It's for them. It's not for
me instead of like what I'm doing for everyone. Yeah.
It's not for a wedding. It's not for getting into certain pants. It's for their internal being.
That seems like that's the easier way. Like if I knew I had to if I was going to a wedding and I needed to lose weight, I'd be like, okay, 20 days. Yeah. That's not really reasonable. But okay, I'm going to focus on that and there's the end goal.
Well, I think and it's okay to have those kind of material goals because that's kind of how our mindset is set up. Like it's hard for you to kind of sit there and say, okay, who am I? What do I really want? We don't do any introspection anyways as kind of a society and such. It's kind of a scary thing for people, for all people. Yeah. So we don't want to necessarily go that deep, right? So then we just find other things that allow us that motivation. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Right. It's just that you have to realize how fleeting that motivation may be, because what may end up happening is that after the wedding's over, you go back to where you were before because there's no wedding again, right? And as soon as you get into those pants, you go back to those. Because I did a post the other day and I said, you can't do healthy. You can be healthy, but you can't do healthy. And what I meant by that was that if you want long-term success, you can't just do it. Doing it is like, I'm going to have a program, it's going to be 16 weeks, you're just doing it. But if you want long-term success, it has actually become who you are. It is part of your being. It's your ethos, basically, right? It's you saying, well, you know what? I'm going to subconsciously, if that's the right word, walk into a building and know that my appointment's on the first floor, and I don't even think about taking the elevator. The thought doesn't even cross my mind. Well, it doesn't cross your mind because that's not really who you are. And so you wouldn't even think about that. If you thought about the elevator, you could almost feel guilty about it or whatever. Anyway, and so the whole point is that that's the first step in saying, hey, this is who I want to be.
Right, and this is my what's your 5-year plan? What's your it's a lifestyle.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, and then so once you hop on board that, I think we're all past the point, or hopefully we can get more with a mind shift of it's a lifestyle, it's not the diets, because you're exactly right. Everything that we've you know, we as women try. And even when I was at, you know, Integrated Nutrition Institute, they said you were going to learn 141 dietary, you know, theories, and none of them work, which is true,
Right.
because you're going to end up back where you were. But
Yeah.
I think it's fascinating for us to have a mind shift, and sometimes it causes us to do the deeper work, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
that's where you're saying with me, or, you know, it has to start with us, and then we're doing it for ourselves. Like, if you have to do the deeper work, and why?
Exactly, and you have to keep reminding yourself, just like anything else, you're reinforcing it to yourself. Any type of behavioral change
Yes.
causes, or is, any type of behavioral change, it needs work, right? It needs constant work, and it's
Yeah.
never a, you know, finished project, if you will, you know, right? And so, yeah, you could get into the principles of weight loss, like, okay, you know, manage your calories, you know, hydrate, you know, try to take some time in between meals, be conscious of your meals, you know, but all of these things, they're just tools for you that are powerful for you to build you.
Yeah.
But you got to understand what you're trying to build.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a thing where you have to say, hey, you know, this is what I want to build. And it's okay to build whatever you want to build. I mean, I'm not here to judge you, you know, to say, oh, you should be at this weight or you should be at this thing. You decide that. And then once you decide that, then don't worry, there's a whole plethora of tools for you to make that happen, you know?
And give yourself grace, because I think kind of like how you were saying with the goal, like, oh, I want to be this weight by the wedding. If you don't meet that goal, then you get in this vicious cycle of tearing yourself apart, becoming depressed because you didn't meet that goal. And then what do? You go into your pantry and pull out all the cookies.
Yeah.
So if you set yourself up for like a sustainable journey and just know, like, you know, sometimes I'm not going to be on track, and that's okay. I will just
Hop back on.
restart tomorrow.
Yeah.
Instead of, oh, I didn't do that, and then you feel bad about yourself, and then it's like the sick cycle all the time.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. And that is due to the fact that they, you know, they wanted it for that reason. They didn't accomplish it.
Right.
So now they feel bad about it. Well, on one hand, this group right here would say, yeah, feel bad about it. You basically said that's what you wanted to do.
It used to motivate
You
me.
didn't, yeah, and you didn't accomplish it.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
you know, take a real hard look at yourself, you know, right? But
You suck.
the person that says, no, I just want to be healthy for me,
Yeah.
and then I also know me, meaning that this is what I can do and what I can't do, what I'm willing to do, what I'm not willing to do. And now I've created a program for that. That is more allowable. I can embrace that being,
Seems
right?
doable.
That seems, well,
Yeah.
it doesn't only, yes, one, it's doable, and the reason why it's doable is because that's who you are,
Yeah.
right?
There's no anxiety wrapped around it.
That's
Because
that.
I think, yeah, go ahead, sorry. I didn't mean to-
Yeah,
go ahead.
no. I was just saying that's the stuff that is the reason, the real reason why people are not accomplishing their goals.
Because they're beating themselves up.
Yeah, they're
It's
they're
like a
beating
cycle.
themselves up, and they're creating a situation that's not really them.
Yeah.